I have had about 30 moves now in my lifetime. Those averages are about every 2-3 years. It's funny because I have been able to maintain some friendships, and sometimes when they hear from me, they haven't heard from me for a while, like, hey, guess what? And the first thing most of them say is, I know you're moving. Because they learn to know that that's what happens for me, like that I get up and I move. And there's a part of me that's like, oh man, like, is that a bad thing? In the United States, in our big old refrigerators, and then things rot and we forget about it.
Refrigerator in the garage.
Yeah, and then we say we need another one.
Have one small refrigerator.
Yeah, over there, and then it's fresh, and you just, it's a different way of life. Even like the way food digests in me when I go there, when we've gone there to visit, right? Because we've been there for work now as adults, and just know when I would go back at those times, it was like coming home, and I could not say that. I felt like I couldn't say that, but it felt so unifying to my soul. It was like extremely healing for me so as an adult, when I had that assignment as a military traveling counselor back in Germany, it was like my opportunity to grasp what I thought I grasped as a child, but now as an adult. And how cool is that? Did I really imagine this to be a home for me? Was that just something in my head because I needed somewhere to say that I could have some identity to say where I was from? And when I went there, and when I went back as an adult, it was absolutely affirming. It was like I could breathe, It was like that. It was like
the assignment looking for your home.
Yeah. That opportunity was so special to me because I wasn't sure I could fight for something like that, right? And you just dream about it. And I imagine that's probably how some immigrants might feel, right? When they leave their home country and dream about the day they go back to their homeland, right? And then they have that opportunity to look at it, and they feel that, and it comes right back. And that's what happened for me. It just all kind of came right back. I had no problem walking around and being alone. I wanted to adventure even more, like as an adult, and drive the Autobahn, like as a child, like, oh boy, we're going on the Autobahn. And it was like the coolest thing. And then me doing it as an adult, it's like, wow, this is wild, man. This is surreal. And it was hard for me to leave. Even when we had a little bit living back in Holland because of your work, I know, I think because of the fact that I had already been living in Europe, I think if it was any other kind of wife who wasn't used to it, I think it would have been extremely challenging. But for me, I was like, yes, I'm so excited. We get to like be here and live here in Europe again. And I just soaked it up. I ate it up. I really did.
How many times would you say you moved as a military child?
I, for the first time, actually counted about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I counted up to 14 times that I had moved before marrying you and joining the military and then moving around.
And then with me, I think we counted up
another 14, 15 times. It's been about
20. It was like 19.
Yeah. I have had about 30 moves now in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. And what that
big moves.
Yes, and that's those averages are about every 2-3 years. It's funny because I have been able to maintain some friendships, and sometimes when they hear from me, they haven't heard from me for a while, like, hey, guess what? And the first thing most of them say is, I know you're moving. Because they've like learned to know that that's what happens for me, like that I get up and I move. And yeah, there's a part of me that's like, oh man, like, is that a bad thing? Or like, does that mean I'm adventurous? Does that, like, what does that mean? But
where did you move from Germany?
I moved to Hawaii. And so that was a huge culture shock for me because, okay, so again, outwardly, I get into Hawaii and nobody could tell that I just moved to Hawaii because I'm the same. Like, there's actually in Hawaii, there's a huge Filipino population over there too. And so I just kind of fit right in visually. And
But inside, I was like, where's the snow at? And why aren't people speaking proper English? Because like, but I can admit that I was like very elitist about it for at least a couple years. Like I did not want to be there. I hated Hawaii. No, nobody understood that. Like, why would you hate Hawaii? Like everybody dreams about going to move to Hawaii. I was like, no, I want to go back to Germany. Like I remember saying for a good 2 years, like my longing to move back to Germany to my parents. But as a child, you really didn't have control over that. So I adjusted, like most military kids do when they have to endure a move. And yeah, it took me about 3 years to start to like it. And then take on their cultures and find some beauty in it, or take on the language and find some comfort in it, you know. But it wasn't that. And now we live here in California. And when people ask me where I am from or where I was from, I almost feel like if I say Hawaii, because I lived there for a good chunk of time too.
Sure. So you
Up
claim,
until
so you claim
up
Hawaii
until
now.
college. And then that's the thing, because I was like, do I say I'm from Hawaii now? Right? Like I lived there until I went away to college. But was I born and raised there? I don't know. Does that count? Like, when does it count when somebody's raised somewhere? I didn't know that. I didn't have the like traditional, that question to me was always so baffling. I could not make sense of that question. And I also sensed that most people expected a one location answer, like geographically, like one
Much
location.
simpler.
Yeah. And so,
Then within Hawaii, you settled in Waianae, which
Yeah.
for people who maybe don't know,
yeah.
there's a very strong sense of identity and culture and people and place for people who
Yeah.
are from there. They claim it, right?
Yeah.
I'm from Waianae.
Yeah.
And you lived there for
Oh my gosh.
9 years.
And my parents are still there.
Did you claim Waianae?
And when we go home, when I go home to Hawaii, like I go to Waianae, and but I feel like such an imposter, or I feel ashamed, or not ashamed, but I just feel like I have no right to say I'm from Waianae. I say I lived in Waianae. I'm very careful with my words because I don't see myself as from there. You know what I mean? I felt like I was transitionally living there. And in fact, I did not actually make any roots in Waianae. We commuted to school 1 hour, each day, each way to go to school in schools that were known to have a little bit more of a military student population.
The nearest Dodea school was Radford, right?
Yeah, so that was the high school, right? And then I did go to a military school on Hickam Air Force Base. But before I could do that, I was thrown into a local school in Aiea for a little while, and were among locals. And I felt so out of place. But again, didn't look like I was out of place. It was just once I opened
Looked
my
like
mouth.
You fit right in.
But once I opened my mouth, once I started talking,
Right.
there was like an immediate, even the teachers were just like, okay.
Who are you?
Yeah. And because I didn't speak that way. I didn't speak like, yes, I didn't sound like any of them. And so Hawaii to me was sort of like a pit stop, even though it was for a long time. But I learned, as I do, I learned to love. The food. Come on, the food in Hawaii is just amazing. There's comfort. There's comfort in the food, and the beaches, and all that stuff. Like the scene, like the social scene, still really cool out there. I love going out. My brother, he's a musician out there. I love being able to be around the local vibes and the music, all that stuff. That's still good. But I have an initial nostalgic home feeling too that I'll never forget, which is the Germany. But I've quieted that down because most people see that Hawaii would make more sense, and I just don't find it worth the time sometimes to explain it.
So having these moves, there's a lot of changes